I change up the angle for every single one of these videos, but I mean, I got to keep it fresh somehow. Last year I did book superlatives based on some that were given by Boston Reads Books. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to do something really easy because I started teaching today. And so mentally I'm just not all here. And I would like to just list things to you instead of doing something that's really in depth. So I'm going to go over these superlatives, including the two that last year I added at the end. And if you feel like doing this and thinking about your 2021 reads in this way, that'd be cool. Superlatives are usually things that are voted on by your classmates when you're like a senior in high school, like most likely to succeed, most likely to like get married and have kids. I explained this a little more in the video I did last year. But these are basically like superlatives, but you have to come up with a book that answers the question. So the first one I did was most likely to make a comeback, a reread you loved more the second time. I didn't reread a lot this year, but I did reread Angelfall by Susan E. I loved it. I loved it. It was one of my favorite books, I think in 2011 or 12 when I read it, and I have never picked up the sequels. And so it was nice to refresh myself on Angelfall and remember that, oh yeah, I really love this book because this protagonist is super strong and capable, and the romance is really like snarky, enemies to lovers, cute. Why haven't I reread this? And the sequels were pretty good too. I mean, I read a lot of good books this year, so those easily could have been my top 10. But I really do recommend Angelfall. It is a very good book. The next one is Class Clown, so your funniest book. And for that one, I did Hyperbole and a Half and Solutions and Other Problems. Both of those are sort of graphic novel comic memoirs by Allie Brosh. Hyperbole and a Half is the name of the webcomic that she did. I was obsessed with it when I was a freshman in college the first time. And she's still just as funny. Like a lot of those stories are almost like laugh out loud funny. And I really enjoyed them. Best Dressed is Prettiest cover. I limited myself to 3, even though I read a lot of beautiful books this year. I don't have a physical copy of A Far Wilder Magic, and I don't have a physical copy of my best friend's Exorcism, but they do count. I think that A Far Wilder Magic, since I read the ARC this year, I'm going to count it, but it's going to be a beautiful cover when it gets published in 2022. And my best friend's Exorcism, the paperback copy that looks like a VHS cover, is so good. Such a good aesthetic cover. It's amazing. And then The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reed. I think that one is a fantastic cover as well. The Cutest Couple, which is Best Romance, easily could have been Wolf and the Woodsman. I could have put that for so many of these, but I didn't, and I did that for you. Cutest Couple for Best Romance is going to go to Barbarians Prize and Barbarians Touch, which are 2 books in the Ice Planet Barbarians series. Because hear me out. In Barbarians Prize, it's about Tiffany, and she's got this PTSD because of what happened to her on the spaceship when she was abducted. The things that happened to her make her very sensitive to touch and wanting touch, but she's also super capable as a human female. She can like farm, and she makes her own clothes, and she works with the tea stuff. Like, she's very involved, and all the men want her. She's a prize. But this one guy's like, no, I'm going to hold back, because you're right, she is, but she's not for any of you. She's going to be mine. I'm going to believe that, and it's going to be true. And the way he patiently waits for her to be okay with touching him is it's so cute and so good to see in this romance novel series. But he like really will just sit beside her. He's like, we don't have to do anything. He said, I just, want to hang out with you. I want to be with you, and helps her work through that until they can become a couple. And it was very well developed considering this series and what it's known for. And Barbarians Touch is about a girl who was abducted, and she ends up being deaf. She does not have her hearing aids when she gets to this planet. Well, the planet, you get this parasite that sort of heals you of everything, and it's a quick healing thing. But it doesn't heal her deafness. I like that, first of all, because it's like, no, that's how she is. It wouldn't heal that. That's her. But her guy, like, rescues her. And when he realizes they have communication barrier, he doesn't immediately try to put any moves on her. He tries to learn her language because she's speaking in sign language. And so they learn sign language and bring that back with them to the tribe. And they eventually kind of go back to that later. But I think in that book, it's done very well, this sort of like language barrier between these two. And this ability for her to communicate with him. And both of these guys showing super respectful boundaries when it comes to romance. Most likely to make you cry. I obviously. This is going to be funny. It's also the books by Allie Brosh, Hyperbole and a Half, and Solutions and Other Problems. She dealt with major amounts of depression and anxiety, and she had some major life problems and loss happen between the two books. And I've never felt so seen with some of the things that she went through and some of the grief that she's processing. And the way she mixed the humor with the reality and the heaviness was just really, really good. But I did tear up a little bit because of it. So, a warning, those books are funny, but they're also really sad. Most dramatic, I would put Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This is the most dramatic book I read. It's about a man who is replaced by a clone of himself one day, and he has to find his way back to his family. And I was just on edge the whole time, seeing if he would do it. Dramatic, it didn't have big battles and fight scenes, but you knew he had to find his family, and there was a time limit, and the science was there, and it was just, it was so nice. It ended very beautifully, but I was just nervous the whole time, so it was very dramatic. Most Changed, a sequel that changed up everything. I would put The Girl in the Tower and The Witch in the Winter, I think, is the third book in the Winter Night trilogy, so The Bear and the Nightingale. You feel like you're getting one thing, and then the other two kind of add on to the lore in like a very involved way. So it did kind of change up things for me and how I viewed the series. And I loved the series, but like it did change the way you view it. Least Change, a sequel that felt like going home. I'd have to say The Silvered Serpents and The Bronze Beasts. Not that things didn't change, not that there weren't big revelations, but because those characters were written the way they were, and because that ensemble cast was so strong, it always felt like you were just kind of with your friends. It always felt very comfortable. So those were really good consistently, the entire Gilded Wolves trilogy. Most Likely to Succeed, a debut author to watch. I'm not sure. I am going to try to pick up her second book this year, which is Juniper Thorn. But Ava Reed, I'm looking forward to anything she writes because The Wolf and the Woodsman was amazing. Like, I've marked all her next books as want to read in Goodreads. She's got a book coming out this year, Juniper and Thorn, which comes out in, I think, this summer. I think it's like June or July. And then she's got A Study in Drowning, which is like a dark academia, coming out next year. So just jot me down for everything that she writes. Now, my two editions when I did it last year were Most Likely to Be Late, is a book you got to later than everyone else or wish you had read sooner. And for that one, I put The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I finally read it this past year, and I get it. I got the hype. When you're kissing people at knife point, you have my whole soul. That is true enemies to lovers, and I just enjoyed it so much. So I wish I'd read it sooner. I'm going to eventually finish the series this year, I think, but I'm kicking myself I did not jump on the hype train sooner. I also wish I had picked up Daisy Jones and the Six sooner, but on audiobook, because, again, fantastic audiobook. The next one, the last one I have, is Most Athletic, so best action sequence or most tension in a book. And while Dark Matter could work for that because of the drama, I think this either has to go to Big Little Lies, which does a good job of spacing out the drama the whole time, but that last bit is a doozy, or My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones, because Dead Meat, the other channel I watch that's horror related, they have this thing called the Final Girl Circuit. They joke about that the final girl has to run around and see all the bodies and see all the carnage before she actually confronts the killer. The Final Girl Circuit in My Heart's a Chainsaw is just nonstop. Like, you hit one part in that book and it just keeps going. So that one was definitely the most athletic. I'm going to leave the superlative list as well as my answers in the description if you feel like answering these or making a video or putting it in a blog. This is a fun kind of way to categorize your reading for last year. And let me know if you want any more information on some of these books. They're not ones that I've talked about because they weren't in my top list, either top 10 or bottom 10. But anyway, that's going to be the video. Hope you enjoyed it.